sorted to a certain extent.
Cool.
Watch this week. I just don't know anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna go now. So, hey guys, welcome to another wonderful week of the ZombSquad Podcast. I'm your host, Zimad Lobster, and it's great to see you all once again. I am joined by my two wonderful co-hosts I absolutely love to death, and I could not do the show without. It is Spike and Kyle. How are you both doing today?
I'm good.
Oh no, please don't tell me. Kyle, have you got audio? Please tell me you got audio.
No audio?
Oh, you got audio. You have audio. It just cut out as you spoke. I thought there was no audio, so that's my fault. Okay, that's fine. Okay, he has audio. We're good. So yes, this is another week, and this podcast is going to be a very, very interesting one to say the least. But we are here and we are ready to thrive because we are joined by a wonderful guest this week, a man who has grinded the dark matter on Black Ops 4 Zombies, which we are going to discuss in today's episode. It is my man Easton. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right to an extent. Rolled out of bed, realized that I was starting to run late for the podcast, but here I am, and oh boy.
It's a good thing that we pushed it back to 6:15. I think that kind of worked out in everyone's favor, to say the least. And for those of you wondering why I'm wearing a hat today, my hair is just not with it. I've been wearing this hat all day because of the sun, and so I'm keeping on for the podcast, so deal with it. There we go. But anyways, to start it off, Kyle, we're going to do our questions for our wonderful guest this week.
Yes, let me pull those up, actually. Let's see.
I can't even remember what I was supposed to
Try
get
to
up.
remember, Jack, did you send me that in your...
Can I say what? Sorry?
Is that your DM? I'm trying to remember if that was in your DMs or your DM to me personally, or was it in the...
I probably would have DM'd you them personally, but I can do it again if it's quicker.
Let's see.
I can't even remember which document they were saved under. I've got so many.
This is going to be a long show.
I've got so many documents, right? I just wait. Which one was it under? I forgot. Was it straight? I remember where it is.
Do you?
I remember where it is. It should be. Got it.
Okay.
Right, Carl. I'll DM these to you on Twitter.
All right. Gotcha.
Sorry about this, Easton.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, okay. There we go. Those are the questions. And we'll get into that real soon. But I'm just going to say hi to everyone in chat, and we apologise for today's show.
Yeah, there we go. Whoops. Okay, so first off, Easton, what's your most memorable zombie moment?
Okay, my most memorable zombie moment for me was probably... Gosh, that's actually very difficult to think about. Like, I could think of multiple ones, like, from each game at least. Like, I would say truly the most memorable one out of all of them would have to be my first time ever playing Zombies. World at War, Nocturne Toten, that loading cutscene, and, like, I was, like, 8 years old at the time, 8 or 9, somewhere around there, and just, I was genuinely scared. I had no idea what I was doing in that. But it was my first experience with zombies. So it's kind of where it all started.
That's actually really nice. I respect that you've chosen to go for the first time you ever played Zombies. I think because a lot of people would say like all these different more later memories, and yet you've gone for an OG, you've gone for a classic, and yeah, I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's like I was thinking of like all moments where it's like I've either like say my first Easter egg I've ever completed, solo, stuff like that, but it's like nothing is truly as memorable in my opinion than your first time playing the mode. Because it's because of that first time playing the mode that you've gained exposure to the mode, and that's where it kind of builds from there to where, like, for me, that first time playing when I was like 8 years old, and here I am, like, you know, we're now 12 years into this wacky game mode that has started off as a bonus thing to how big it is now, and Hell, I fucking grinded out dark matter over the past 3 weeks.
Good lord.
I cannot wait to get into that topic, but we're gonna do the questions first.
Really? Okay.
Oh, he's cut out. Why is he cut out? Kyle, you've cut out.
Hey.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay. Okay. So, what keeps bringing you back to zombies, and how has it impacted you?
What honestly keeps bringing me back is just how much fun I tend to have playing the game. Like, ever since, like, with how I think with how Black Ops 3 really changed up things and like made things a lot more like open for like solo players to be able to actually do things like the Easter eggs. I think that's kind of what kept me coming back. It's just I had the most fun with Black Ops 3 because I was able to do so much solo play, and that was the first game that truly felt open for the solo player, in my opinion.
Okay. Do you get the same feeling with Black Ops 4?
Black Ops 4, I definitely feel like that's the case at this point because of like they really have. I mean, sure, there's a lot we could talk about the systems and all that, and y'all have pretty much talked about that a good bit as well here on the podcast. And it's like, but I just feel like at this point, because of everything that I've done, I feel like it has become a little bit more open to solo players.
Yeah. No, okay.
I mean,
that's
9 really is the main map that I can think of that's a great place to have it be open.
You know what? I'll agree with you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for me. It's
true.
either 9 or Tog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, non-talk is pretty good for solo.
Okay, what's the next one, Carl?
Okay. Favorite map?
Overall or per game?
Overall.
Overall,
overall.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fair because that'd take a little bit longer. I'd have to say probably overall it'd have to be. I'm gonna say at this point I'm going with 9
Oh, okay.
because it's such a basic map, like very bare bones to get used to BO4, and I think it's just a fun time because of how chaotic that map can be with the mix of the tigers, the gladiators, the catalyst, possible blight fathers. It's just a fun experience overall, I feel like, because it's just so chaotic and just seeing how well you can actually like handle the new mechanics of the game.
That's true. I respect 9 in the sense that I think it caters to all kinds of players, both casual, new, and hardcore players. That's how I've always viewed 9. Like, I think because of the simplicity of the layout and how simple it is to actually get Pack-a-Punch, you know, it gives off a very Derice vibe in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the map layout.
Map
I
layout
love how you had the
is
main.
spot on.
Yeah, it's like you got the main hub, but then you got the underground. You got each of the 4 areas, God areas. So that's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
really like that
it's
layout.
basically just one big square. That's
Yeah.
how you see 9. And then you have the 2 center pieces of the arena and Pack-a-Punch, and that's just kind of what I've always admired about 9 is it is a simple map if you choose to do a simple game.
Yeah.
That's why it reminds me a lot of Shadows, like how it's laid out.
Yeah, it shows
Except-
a good example.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's the next one?
Okay, next question. Where does your gamer tag come from?
That's kind of a fun question. So my actual gamer tag in like for the sake of Xbox is all caps no spaces edog917.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the edog part. The 917 is because of my birthday's the 17th of September. Well, really the E is just because that's the first letter of my name. The dog part I still don't know why. I honestly don't know. For that part.
Yeah, I kind of suspected
It just was
the
it was just a simple gamer tag and and I've had that gamer tag since I first got an Xbox when I was like I believe like 12 or 13.
Oh wow, so you've had it a long time then.
Yeah, I've had it for a long time and that was whenever I got the Halo Reach 360.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Damn.
That's quite interesting because you see people that they go through so many different like game attacks throughout the course of, as long as they played, whether it be Xbox or PlayStation, they have so many different names that they actually go through until they find the one that sticks. And some people come up with a name on the spot, and that name then sticks with them throughout the entirety of their gaming course. And I think it's a nice mix actually, because Easton, you're the one with, you've had that game attack for like since you got your first Xbox. Me, I'm one of those people that's gone through so many different game attacks until I found the one Mad Lobster that's just stuck with me and that actually works. So I like that actually. Right, Carl, do we have any more or?
And then the last one is your favorite childhood game.
Favorite childhood game, I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna, like, even though I'm an Xbox guy, I got my start with a PlayStation 2, and I'm gonna go with the Sly Cooper series. I love me the Sly Cooper games. A great mix of, like, of course, like, it's just a nice little, like, platforming, thieving game. Just, it's such a fun time, I feel like. It was just a fun little game.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Nice.
Childhood games are something that will always fascinate me, because I'm always intrigued to see how much they vary with, like, all these different people that we get on the show. I'm always intrigued to see that, like, how much they vary. Like, we had Pete who said his was like Ratchet and Clank, and
oh yeah,
it's just such a great variety, you know. And I look forward to that question with the many more guests that we're gonna have on the show for sure. So I think that will all. I think out of the 5 questions we have, I think that one will always be my favorite. I just love that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now to get into, wait, I've got to find it first. There it is. The topics for today. So now, okay. So we briefly, like, it was the introduction for our boy Easton, but I gotta know, right? Easton, I want to know what motivated you to go through the whole process of doing all of the camos to finally get dark matter. I've got to know.
If I'm to, like, keep it as simple as possible, I think it was just more the fact that I just wanted something to do in the game. I think it was just simply, I just wanted to have something to accomplish, because it's like, I mean, if we're to look back at Black Ops 3 with how they did their whole camo system for the guns and zombies, it was just literally get like a max of 400 kills per gun, and then you got red hex on them. But in this case, it was like, it was the proper, like, system to actually get all the camos, because, like, Black Ops 3, sure, you could have dark matter on your guns, but you'd have to go through the whole process on multiplayer. But Treyarch, they actually decided to give us that system through all 3 modes, with multiplayer, blackout, and zombies. So it's like, it felt accomplishable to go for dark matter. Well, you have and, like, I've been seeing a lot recently after, like, finishing this grind, like, the talk, like, a bunch of these content creators talking about how they will never go through it. And, like, I can understand that. They just don't they feel like that people would not want to watch Black Ops 4 stuff so much. While me, as just, like, a player of the game, like, I'm like, you know, I just want to do something. And all the other games I had been playing at the time were not really keeping me entertained. And it just felt nice to come back to zombies after this long, and how everything's basically already fully patched out and all that. So the game is as smooth as it should be. Like, how it should have been, like, at launch and all that, which that's a whole conversation that could be had. But it's just like, I felt it was a nice time to actually experience the game for what it was and actually achieve something that is in the game.
So so am I right in saying that you took a little break from zombies?
I did actually take a break from zombies. Like, ever since, like, whenever BO4 did come out, like, I gave it a try. I gave it the best try I could, but also at the same time, it's like, there was also the times that I was at university. So it's like, one rule that me and my parents have is, like, I am not allowed to bring my Xbox up to university with me. That way I can focus on that way I can focus on my schoolwork.
the understandable, at the same time it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm
very
just kind of
understandable.
so it's like I just am, because of that I'm just the best way I have to actually see these maps is through the actual like content that's being created and being put out on YouTube or like being streamed on Twitch, that sort of stuff. That's I'm only able to see it from like a detached perspective. It's, which I feel like that is definitely something that can influence opinions of a game for anybody. Just if you have that attachment to the experience or not. Because I'll be real, like I've just to quickly touch on it, like I've within this time that I've been playing the game and also just been a part of your server,
Hmm.
Jack, just I went from having no Easter eggs ever attempted in Black Ops 4 to having 5 of them done. All within
Wow.
the span of about a week.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the
And
it's the beauty of the server.
just Ninjas and Pete, they helped me out with the Tog Egg, and I felt myself starting to cry after finishing the whole the whole Agarthan device escort. Before the actual cutscene even happened, I felt like I was about to cry because it actually hit me then what I had just done.
Yeah.
The
It's
end of Ether.
the end of Ether. It's I mean I'm really happy that the server has helped
It
you.
really has been a
manage to
great
do that.
thing to help me. Like, I really think the server has really helped me like actually have like a drive to like want to be getting back into the zombies community, and it's nice to see that there is a group of people that are still wanting to keep that love for the zombies community alive, like the love within the community alive for the time that we have right now until the announcement of the next Call of Duty from Treyarch and hopefully the next installment of Zombies.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the thing with zombies is that it's so easy for people to just up and leave. Like they're just like, okay, this game mode's dead. I've had enough of it. I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back. It's easy for people to
Yeah.
say that. Whereas I, for me at least, I've always been attached to zombies ever since I first played it back in 2011. And when people always ask me, why don't you play other games? I'm just like, I love zombies. Zombies has been the passion and it's been the drive of my channel. And I look at it now and I'm starting to build this really amazing community around it too. And like I've had so many people come into the server and then I get a sneaky DM from them and they're just saying like, your server has actually helped me out in terms of becoming a better zombies player, to work up the drive of starting to stream and just all different things like that. And I'm so happy that the server has helped you to complete Easter eggs that you never thought you'd be able to do.
Yeah, like there's a couple of eggs I've attempted solo and just had no luck with.
Oh, sorry, you had attempted solo. Wow, that's interesting actually, because a lot of the Black Ops 4 ones aren't like I wouldn't say that any of the Black Ops 4 ones are probably as solo friendly as BO3, or I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe say 9, but even 9 has the raw step. That's rough when you first play it.
Dude, that raw step was so easy. That
Yeah,
raw step
now
was
it's
so
like-
easy.
Yeah, when you get used to it, and you get the confidence to do that step, 9 is just a piece of cake after that. But
I think
Yeah.
the bit I struggled on the most was finding the bullheads. But
Yeah,
that's only
yeah.
because I didn't know the locations of them.
yeah, right. Yeah.
But that's just. Carl, your screen keeps on flickering in and out, like going like
Eh,
scream and everything.
it's flickering.
Okay, there we go. Family's out of the room. But like for me, really the main
There we go.
like for me, the thing that's actually been the most difficult part for the sake of these eggs
Yep.
that I've attempted solo, the two that I've attempted solo and made it to boss fight on were Ancient Evil and Alpha Omega. The only thing that has been screwing me up is how difficult these boss fights are. Like, what the hell, Treyarch? They really testing you.
I will say definitely Ancient Evil. That boss fight it's definitely not a walk
Yeah.
in the park, especially for solo players. However,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I can't really speak though because I've never tried. The only egg I've ever done solo is 9, so I don't really know how it is in
Yeah.
terms of solo play. But yeah, Easton, I will agree with
like,
you that Ancient
the
Evil.
actual like setup of like doing all the steps and everything is great, but like one problem that I ran into was like Pegasus has so much health. And I'm sitting there with a freaking wildfire Spitfire trying to shoot him down, but end up running out of ammo. I was completely out of ammo and was relying on my Wraith Fires to to hopefully kill a zombie and drop a max ammo for me.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah. Just it was ridiculous how much damage you have to do to both Pegasus and Perseus. Also, Perseus has a ridiculous attack that just instant downs you.
Yep. That attack is
Yep.
is absolutely ridiculous
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
luckily I actually went through it and like me and Ninjas were playing the map and it was just like a chance for him to like learn all the locations and we were just doing the egg we weren't like for like it was basically like we were doing runs for him to get used to like doing everything for the egg
Yep.
that then just ended up turning into us getting to the boss fight and defeating it.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to give I think I need to give Ancient Evil another try, but
Yeah.
I don't like the whole thing of the dormant hands being completely RNG in the sense of where they spawn on the map, in terms of you can either get 2 on spawn side, 2 on pap side,
Oh,
or you
it's
1,
a chance of like
3.
on one side it could be like all 4 and the other side none. Like you could have that be a possibility. And
Yeah,
it pisses me off.
That's unbelievable. That you have to
like-
go the whole side to go to Pack-a-Punch just to get the 4 dormant hands to come back to 2.
And you have
of
to
the
open
dormants.
Pack-a-Punch before you can even go back and work on those hands.
Yeah, it's
Which is why, like,
bonkers.
from like, here's the one thing I could say for like, if you were to attempt that egg solo, like people who have in the community who are known for doing that stuff, like Smart Guy, like the best. And I do this just as a casual play thing at this point.
hmm
If you do not have a minimum, if you do not have either 2 or 3 hands on the light side of the map, the side that you spawn on before you summon Pegasus and all that, restart your game.
Yep.
Because if you have 2, good, you can go ahead and take care of everything for the 2 gauntlets on that side. If you have 3, perfect. You don't have to worry about finding another one, so you can get started with Charon once you get over to the dark side of the map.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, I just wish it was always the case that it'd be 2 and 2, because that would make sense. Even if it's
Yeah.
like 1 and 3, I don't mind that. You know, that's fine and all. But when you have all 4 spawn on the Pack-a-Punch side, I'm just like I ain't going
At that
through this.
point, I've only ever had that be a scenario once, and I've had a scenario where I've had all 4 on the spawn side.
Wow,
I just don't like it.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's
some bad
unbelievable, man.
randomness.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, sorry, just to go back to the Dark Matter grind for a moment, because obviously both you, and I think Flex is working on it now as well.
Flux, I believe, is just working towards, like, say, Diamond for the sake of the secondaries right now. I don't know.
Okay.
That's what I remember him saying once. I don't know if he is actually going for Dark Matter, and I feel bad if I am saying that and he actually is, and I am kind of quote unquote doubting him.
Okay, well, Flex can confirm in chat.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact you and Takeout, you've both done Dark Matter. You've both made that grind.
Yes.
It completely amazes me that you have the patience to to do all of the headshots for all of the guns, and then having to do all of the rest of the challenges to finally get this one camo.
Yeah.
And so the question I have for you is to go through that whole process of doing the challenges, having to restart your games and all that sort of stuff. Do you think Dark Matter was worth it? That's the question
Yes.
I want to
I'm
know.
gonna say yes and no.
Yes and no. Oh, okay. Can you give reasons?
Ooh.
I feel like yes, because it's such an accomplishment to actually do something like that. I say no because of the fact that there is so much that is just like, why the hell are these the challenges that I'm having to do for some of the random weapons that are part of the whole process?
Mhm.
Like, I will give a couple of, for one example, like one major example of like an overall situation, the Bowie knife. The Bowie knife's challenges are so all over the place, in my opinion,
Oh, the
because you're having to get kills. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna pull this up real quick, and
I know
that
for
way I
a
can make sure I'm
fact.
not.
I know for a fact one of the camos is you have to get a certain amount of crawler kills.
Yes,
It's like
that
500
one.
color kills.
It is
Yep, there you go.
500 crawler
Yup.
kills, and if you do not how
Ugh.
to do that properly, you are going to have a bad time. Which I found out the best
500.
way to actually do it, and I am so glad that I figured it out. This was mainly something that Smart Guy mentioned in his Dark Matter video
Mm-hmm.
way back when he actually did the grind,
Yep.
and that is going to round 12 of the Voyage Gauntlet
Really?
with no strikes.
Damn.
Kill all but one zombie. Let that one zombie kill you to get a strike. Do that until you're on to where you could get a third strike. Kill all the crawling zombies for that round. And then once that 13th round starts, just end your game and start again. You could get approximately like 125 per attempt, if, on solo at least. I believe that's what the number was.
Wow.
Yeah,
that-
you can get a
don't-
lot.
Yeah.
Don't want.
But yeah, the other challenges for the sake of Bowie knife are like 500 kills with it when insta kill is active. I burned through a lot of freaking killjoys doing that because I just wanted it to be quick and easy. There's
That's not
500
bad.
kills when you have all your perks, which that's not that bad. You could easily just put on Ethereal Razor as one of your perks and you're good
Yeah.
to go for a full match of just using the Bowie knife. You've got
Yep.
you've got 500 kills. You got 500 electric kills with the Bowie knife while Pop Shocks is active, which that's not bad. It's literally any zombies that are killed by the Pop Shocks effect count towards it. It's just, it's a classic, so it's gonna take forever for it to recharge. Thanks, Treyarch.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring this up to chat real quick so they can see. Like, so chat, these are the challenges that you need to get the Bowie knife gold. So it's like 500 with the Bowie knife with insta kill,
500 that are
crawler
crawling,
kills, 500 with 4
500
perks,
with all your perks,
500 with
and-
pop shocks, and then 25 heavy
500
zombie
with
kills.
Pop Shocks active, and then 25 heavy zombie kills, as it's preferred to.
Like,
Yes,
and
you're bringing up Zombicus. Good old Zombicus, help me out.
Good old Zombicus. This
Zombicus.com.
is actually really good. I
highly recommend using their camo tracker. Look through all of your weapons if you want to, but only focus on the ones that actually broke. And they will actually track overall progress for that category, overall for every single gun in zombies, and only focuses on ones that are actually towards dark matter.
Zombicus is amazing. It's helped me out a lot especially during when I was going for like secondaries gold and LMG's gold. It's amazing. It's such a good website in terms of tracking.
You can also only do it for chaos, and the camo won't be on either maps if it has the Bowie knife.
Oh yeah, that is something that annoys me so much. The fact that the Bowie knife camo only is on chaos maps. Like, why?
Yeah, and you can only do the challenges on chaos, which is fucking weird.
Wait, the challenges only count on
That's
chaos?
dumb.
What?
Yeah,
No, they don't.
are you sure?
They don't. I can tell you that for a fact because I completed the crawler challenge kills on classified.
Okay.
So I think they count towards that.
When it says crawlers, Nova crawlers don't count for those.
No. This wasn't Nova crawlers. This was literally.
I'm just putting that out there for chat. Like Nova crawlers or like the Jilting Jacks from Alpha Omega do not count as crawlers. You have as like crawlers as in the original means of like. Hold on, somebody needs to make a crawler so we can do steps to the Easter egg, like back in Black Ops. But here's the kicker. Black Ops 4 actually has the system in place to where you can only have a max of 10 crawlers on the map at once. And they only last for about a minute once they're a crawler. I'm pretty sure. Because they actually take into account bleed out. for those little stumpy fucks.
It's-
My bad for the language there. I
It's
just
quite
it
bonkers.
annoys me so much with the crawler kill part. Like the fact that I put myself through the torture of the voyage gauntlet just to get it done.
I'd say that was the most annoying of the challenges when it comes to the Bowie knife.
Oh yeah, that's the worst one. Everything else is fine.
Everything else, like the Pop Shocks one, I think was actually really good. I quite like that one. Heavy zombie,
and using
heavy
the Pop
zombie
Shots
kills.
method, you could get the heavy kills done easily.
The heavy zombie kills was really good. But by far the crawlers was like I'm just sitting here like why? Why would you
Yeah,
make
it's
that
like-
a challenge? Just for a camo. It's nuts. But yeah, it was interesting that you said yes and no to whether it was worth it or not. And
Yeah,
so
I say it was
would
worth
you
it because of the
say-
fact that it was like just a fun grind to do and just it felt accomplishing to have the camos unlocked. Like I basically have every single camo, so I could run gold, diamond, or dark matter on my guns if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's like just how those camos have reactive features. Those 3 mastery camos, gold, diamond, and dark matter. Like for gold, in case people don't know, it starts off with just the matte gold of the gun. As soon as you pack a punch it, there's a yellow glow that goes throughout the whole gun. And then whenever you fully repack, that yellow glow becomes a purple glow. Then for the sake of diamond, if people have seen like videos of how the camo evolves in multiplayer, it's similar to that, yet it's intervals of like going up to 2,000 plain old zombie kills within the match. And
Yeah.
then for the sake of dark matter, that's entirely based off of headshots. Like the intervals are 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and finally 500, evolving it to its final state of the Black Ops 3 dark matter with all the spikes.
See, it's interesting, like, because would you say that obviously Black Ops 3 and 4 are both like did Black Ops 3 have dark matter?
Black Ops 3
Yeah.
did have dark matter only in multiplayer. And the only way you could have dark matter
okay.
in zombies is if you had grinded it out in multiplayer, which a lot of like zombies channels did that. Like for example, Noah J did that.
Mhm.
I know that for a
Lex did
fact.
it.
Noah did it, Lex did it, a lot of people did it. That were zombies YouTubers. They played Black Ops 3 multiplayer just to get the dark matter so they could put it on their guns and zombies.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And I think even after the fact they didn't even run it.
Hmm.
Because they didn't think it looked nice at all.
Yeah.
Because it was just a plain old dark matter.
But the one
But
in
just having the level of like reactiveness to the guns, I feel like is a great thing.
but the one in BO4, does that look good?
For the sake of dark matter, like starting off dark matter, I think it looks alright, but just like seeing the evolution of like how chaotic it becomes,
Yep.
like just seeing the spikes form and then like all the actual like dark matter energy starts like increasing in like activeness
Yep.
until it just like looks like just the gun is just going completely wild and glowing like a yellowish orange, to then it just calming down and being that like black and purple color of the Black Ops 3 dark matter with those spikes still there.
Damn.
And I think it's nice
Damn.
because it is like 500 headshots to do that versus 2,000 kills with diamond. Because like 500 headshots is very achievable, I feel like, in Black Ops 4.
500 headshots is definitely one of the more easy ones to get for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than rather than that community one. What was it? How many was it? Like 1 million headshots or something with the Galil or something like that. Back in Black Ops
No, it
3.
was like games played.
Yeah, it was matches played back in BO3 for the sake of the Galil. And then, of course, they had like some camos that were like available through the black market, which for BO3 that you could apply. And just like reactive camos in general, I feel like were a cool little thing for Black Ops 4 that you could apply on your guns and zombies. Like it kind of was part of what helped me remember like seeing the interval changes. Like I knew how close I was to finishing up like that kill challenge.
Okay.
So it's like having a reactive camo on, like seeing it evolves. Like okay, that means I'm at that many kills for that camo challenge. There was just little things like that that helped me remember like how far I am with a gun. Though it's like I'm not just saying there like how close am I again and trying to look at the kills because like kills are a little bit skewed to start off with because of the fact that you do have the strife and how you could just, for the sake of playing it on the game on casual, you could knife to the end of round 6 with a stiletto knife, and it'd be one hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I quite liked that actually, because when I first discovered that, I thought Treyarch had updated it, and then I remembered that I put it on casual, and I was like, oh, okay, that's quite neat. That's quite neat. I will admit, right, because I got diamond shotguns, the rainbow effect
Oh yeah,
on the diamonds, especially on the trebuchet, is absolutely gorgeous. I love that. That is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. I love that.
Sick.
That's why
Another couple of guns, I could quickly bring up, and like what was annoying, just purely for headshot purposes, in my opinion.
Yep.
Was the Essex and the Welling. Those are the only two I had problems with, in my opinion. But luckily, I had learned about the Dead of the Night silver bullets method.
But even then again, I tried that and I struggled with that. I'm gonna be real. I struggled with that.
Like, here's the way how I went about it, Jack. And this is like something, in case any of y'all need to go for the headshots on the Welling and you just want to go for diamond pistols, just to be simple. I recommend for your loadout, run in every single perk slot except for your, in this case, Odin slot for your modifier. Like Odin modifier, make it Deadshot Dealer. Everything else just run Secret Sauce, so you're not having to waste so much money.
Okay, that's fair.
The only time I would say worry about like respinning is if it's like certain perks that are like active in like blood, like if you got Blood Wolf Bite or frickin' Electric Burst. Those are two I recommend getting rid of as soon as you can after you buy all your perks.
Okay.
Because of the fact that like they have a chance of killing zombies that you need for the headshots. Also, another thing I recommend, don't do anything towards the PAP quest. Don't do anything that goes towards Pack-a-Punch. You can literally open the whole map except for the forest and be fine. And also, if you play on casual difficulty, I don't know if it's only casual because of this, or if it's also in normal. I have to test that. It's not at round 13 is whenever vampires start spawning in. The normal Nosferatu starts spawning at round 13. And I personally recommend just playing until you complete round 20 doing this method and then starting your game over. It's very easy to get the whole map open by the end of round 6. If you're to just say like stay in the Danu perk room and have like just condense all the spawns and just only use the stiletto knife for then. Don't worry about I'd recommend actually buying the stripe off of the wall for this situation, or if, like, since this Welling, like, meleeing isn't entirely that bad. Like, it's a 3-hit melee up till you're 3-hit meleeing by, it's like 1-hit melee for rounds 1 to 2, 2-hit for 3, I believe, or I think it jumps up to a 3-hit. I can't remember, but like, it's not that bad doing melee until like you're down to 1 on round 6. There's a whole lot I could go into on this. But of course, like, yeah, I could go on and on about this, but I feel like there's still so much that we have to talk about here.
Yeah, it's like the only thing I would add on to that was when I tried that strat, it didn't feel. I mean, I don't play Dead of the Night. Okay, I played that map maybe twice or 3 times, and when I tried the strat, it just didn't feel like the silver bullets were doing any more damage than what people were making it out to.
I completely understand that fact, but I feel like the main reason for the sake of the silver bullets is just you have a source of ammo so you can keep refilling the Welling. The real source of the damage is that Deadshot Dealer modifier.
So once you
the real source of that damage is the Deadshot Dealer modifier.
So once you hit the actual, like, because I know how the modifier works. It's like it builds up the bars and then you know you're on the
once you have the full bars and it's just like the blinking red at the actual Deadshot icon.
So that blinking red, that's the actual damage.
Yes, that's the actual damage boost that you get, and it stays that way as long as you're getting headshot kills.
Yep. Okay. I might have to see. Now, a part of me is like, I want to try it out that strat again, but the other part is just like, don't put yourself through this.
I mean, if you're gonna want to go for a diamond pistol, at least you're gonna have to put yourself through it eventually.
I literally have to do diamond pistols, and then I get diamond secondaries.
Yeah.
The only ones I've got left are the Welling and the RK7, and then that's it for secondaries because I've already got the shotguns.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll see. It's something I've got to think about real quick.
Yeah.
But okay, no, that's interesting. Like, but the whole dark matter grind is. But anyways, so yeah, like going into the next topic real quick, and this was actually one that I was really intrigued to discuss further because I wanted to look at the evolution of wonder weapons as the games have gone on. So you start off with like something simple, like
The good old ray
the
gun.
good ray gun, and then the Wonder Wolf. That's your World of War. Then they started to really expand upon them in Black Ops 1, and then Black Ops 2. Here's the thing, right? Black Ops 2, excluding the jet gun, Black Ops 2 felt the wonder weapons felt less convoluted in a way. They felt more simple. So like they went from simple to complex to simple. Then they brought in the Stars of Origins, and then the complex just kind of shot up there. And you have Black Ops 3, which I think the complex is still rising again, and then Black Ops 4, it's risen again. Like, and so I wanted to know from you guys. Well, actually, we'll start with Spike. How do you see the evolution of wonder weapons, and where from World of War to Black Ops 4, and where do you think it could potentially go from here?
I think the Wonder Wolf was ahead of its time, as well as the Thunder Gun.
Oh, okay, that's actually quite a good answer. I like that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like
Ahead of its time. What? As in you? Could you explain that a bit further?
Like, you just wouldn't like have expected that from the side mode, like this wacky complex weapon shooting lightning bolts, and then the Thunder Gun just fucking blowing zombies back, instantly killing them, infinite damage.
Mm-hmm.
like just the fact that it's like you had these infinite damage weapons from a game mode that was so small. It's like these feel
Yeah.
like they were. I feel like it was too early for weapons like that. Wonder weapons like that because it's like after the fact, it's like you are given wonder weapons that are very much like having a damage cap. In a sense.
Yeah, it was so early to have Wonder Weapons like that. But then with Call of the Dead, they toned that down with the Scavenger and the VR11. But people have found strategies with co-op for the VR11 to be.
Oh yeah, because the PAP VR11, if shot
Yeah.
at a teammate, like gave them an insta kill. Like
Yeah.
that was a way around the whole like overpowered wonder weapon itself. It basically was just a way for the players to give themselves a buff if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've gotten people over the round 100 cap. That seemingly where people were it was almost impossible for people to get to round 100 on Call of the Dead due to the reset time being, well, just simply just going so slow. But trying to find fast strategies. Recently, someone did beat the world record and got to round 100.
On what, Call of Dead?
Yeah, but in Johnny J's video, he said that there's actually some controversy about it because people have thinking that he did something about like a third-party software. I don't fully remember it, but yeah.
Okay.
I think the JGB as well was also a bit of ahead of its time
I'll agree with
because
you.
like
Oh yeah.
it had like it didn't do any damage, but it shrunk the zombies down to like where they pretty much had like
you could
one
punt
health.
them and they die.
Yeah, you just kick them and they're dead.
And of course, like the known strategy for that was like, oh, just fire a shot at the JGB and whip out your Mustang and Sally and just fire one shot at your feet and you're good.
Yeah, kill an entire
Oh,
horde
yeah.
in just a matter of like a second.
Hence why if you're to look at it like just based off like ammo per horde's possible killed, it's considered the most powerful wonder weapon in zombies.
Yeah. When we got the moon, though, I think at that point the whole community was so used to having overpowered wonder weapons, so it kind of just like we were kind of just desensitized from it.
Yeah.
And then BO2, oh boy, Transit was Is this shotgun even a wonder weapon? Can we just do we agree that it's not really a wonder weapon for how
Technically,
bad it is?
it's classed
I
as
don't.
the wonder
I don't
weapon for
consider it a
transit,
wonder
considering
weapon.
how
I
shit
think
it is.
like. Okay, here's one thing I also think that I find funny as well. Is like yes, people refer to it as the jet gun, but one thing I wonder, do any of y'all remember the actual technical name of the weapon?
Thusterdyne Aeronautics Model 23.
Yep. Glad to see you do. Glad to see somebody remembers the actual
He
technical
just
name.
remembers it from the
Really?
Jeopardy that we did.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
it.
that's-
Spike, you
That's
were
the full
100%
technical name of the
correct.
jet gun. The Thrustodyne Aeronautics Model 23.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Still don't
But
remember.
nobody calls it that. They just say the jet gun.
Because it's a jet engine made into a gun.
It's literally
Oh,
like
really?
Yeah.
literally like they took it from an airplane, right? Oh my god, this is how it happened, right? Okay, so the missile's here. An airplane was destroyed. They took the jet from an airplane, fashioned it into a gun, split it into pieces. Boom, there's your wonder weapon.
Yep.
Broken
That's
Arrow.
what it
like,
looks
oh,
like.
yeah.
that had to have been something that Broken Arrow was like. This seems like it would be funny to screw with people with. It feels
And
like
screwed with
it
us.
feels like Broken Arrow wanted to screw with people, in my opinion.
Basically.
Yeah.
You pull it out and press RT once and it breaks. You're like, well, fuck.
Now you got to pick up all those pieces quickly and bring them back to the bench, or they're gonna respawn back to their original locations. Have fun walking through the fog with the denizens after you.
Dude.
Oh, and also,
Yeah.
if you drop it in the lava, it actually just disappears permanently.
Oh god!
Oh shit, that's yeah, that's bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Like
Oh,
the
boy.
fact that one of the freaking egg steps. I can't remember which side is it. Is it Richtofen's or Max's side that you have to build it and just use it until it's destroyed underneath the tower?
No clue. The only Easter egg set that I remember from Trench is throwing EMPs at a fucking light post.
Yep.
I kind of want to say Richthofen.
It sounds like a Richtofen thing for like needing more power, need to overload the system or some shit like that. I feel like that's
Maybe.
what the quote was.
I kind of want to say Richthofen. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
real.
Who knows?
But I've never done any of the Victus Easter eggs, so I haven't got the fuckiest. I need to get a team and do them just to say I've done them. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be
That's like
putting
me
myself
too.
through hell, but
I'd be down for the torture.
you'd be down for the torture. I need to find 2 others as well. Actually, oh wait, no, I've got Oh wait, no, I think it was Black Ops 1. Because I was speaking to Zoe about it on yesterday's stream, and because I need Shang and Moon on Black Ops 1 as well. I need them done. And then I need the Victus ones from Black Ops 2. I need to get a team.
I'm down to do Victus because I have all the DLCs for BO2.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like that might be an
Yeah,
interesting stream as
same.
well, just like completing all Victus Easter eggs and so forth. So that might make for an interesting stream, but I'll work it out. But yeah, to go back to the initial question, I want to ask Kyle now. Actually, Kyle, what do you make of like the evolution of wonder weapons throughout time?
Yeah, like have they gotten like progressively like better? Because I mean, by the time yeah, because I agree with like Spike and Easton. Like the Thunder Gun is just an insane weapon, a wonder weapon to have, just in BO1.
Yeah.
And then I mean, you jump to like the Apothecon Servant. That weapon is like so overpowered in Rev. And you've got the Thunder Gun in Rev. So you have 2 of the, to me, the best wonder weapons ever up to this point.
Yeah, I was just curious
You
because
don't really,
oh, go on.
it's just they kind of tapered off. I think really BO4. I mean, you have, to me, the best one is the Dead of the Night, Alistair's Folly. I don't think he gets. I mean, well, and you got the Thunder Gun and Todd, but for like new wonder weapons, yeah, really, Dead of the Night was the only real overpowered one if you count it like that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Easter, what about you?
So let's see. So yeah, like starts with the ray gun, then we got the Wonderwaff being like, an instant kill weapon. Only downside it had to it was, no power-ups could drop. Like they had to have some balancing in those regards. Like both like the Wonderwaff, the Thunder Gun, those two, since we've been talking about them a lot, they don't have zombies drop power-ups, which I feel like was the balancing fact of the weapons. Because like, oh, these things are very overpowered. We need to do something that cannot make them seem too powerful by basically having them not have a means of dropping ammo. I mean,
Right.
heck, high round strategies on Ascension rely on you basically having to have a gun just to get points, so you can put the Thunder Gun back in the box and spin to get it back. And it's like, for the sake of like Black Ops 1, every weapon had its own sense of being very powerful. The Scavenger is the only exception, I feel like, for the sake of anything that was like new added in, because it did have its damage cap for its pack-punched version. And also the fact that it had such a long delay before its actual explosion. Black Ops 2, the jet gun, we've said our piece about that, or pieces, as it will always remain in.
Yep.
Because who's going to go through the time to actually build it? The Slickfire was really cool at launch. Like, at the launch of that map, it was very powerful, but then they nerfed it big time with the whole slippery effect and all of that. I mean, the fact that the high round method for Die Rise is sitting in the elevator shaft and just shooting zombies as they're coming out of that one spot.
Yep.
Ridiculous. And then moving on to, like, of course, the introduction of the Blundergat in Mob of the Dead. It was really cool. It was very unique compared to what we've been seeing for the sake of Black Ops 2. Like, having to, instead of building a weapon, we're just given this blunderbuss shotgun quad barrel thing. It's like, what the hell? Who thought to make this? And just the whole like process of like the acid gat, the golden spork, things like that, for the sake, the Hell's Retriever. Because like, while we're talking wonder weapons, you got to also remember that all these crazy equipment pieces that we were given, like monkey bombs starting back in Reese, we got the Gersh devices in freaking Ascension. The name was leaving me for a second. Call of the Dead, we got the Matryoshka dolls, we got the freaking, I would technically consider the Spike Moors a wonder weapon because they are a unique variation of the Claymores in Shangri-La.
Yep, that's fair.
That's my personal opinion on that matter.
Yep.
But then, of course, we got the QED device in Moon. We didn't really get any new equipment until Mob of the Dead with Black Ops 2.
Can you count
with the Hell's
EMPs?
Retriever. I mean, EMPs are EMPs. It's basically, EMPs are basically saying, oh, here's a flash, in my opinion.
Okay.
In that regard. The only thing that seemed wonderful about the EMP was how you could use it to troll people in grief mode, if you actually played grief mode. And
Yeah.
outside of that, like, continuing forward, like Origins, the staves, the first time we had 4 variations of 4 different wonder weapons, basically allowing everybody to have a variation of a wonder weapon. And I could quickly like cover, like, in that regard, you got just jumping between like games like BO2 with the staves, BO3 with the bows of Drak, and BO4 with the hands on Ancient Evil. And quoting Lex on this, Origin, quoting and also adding on, in my opinion, for the sake of what Lex said, Origins cultivated it, Drak perfected it, Ancient Evil simplified it. That's what I would have to say for the sake of like the 4 elemental wonder weapons idea, because like,
that's a bloody good quote.
This, because like Origins is very well known in the regard of wonder weapons, like having those 4 different variations. Like, oh, you got all these parts that you have to find in such unique ways. Like the fire staff parts, I feel like was the only one that was like, what? Like shooting out a plane, having to complete Generator 6 and killing a Panzer. That's all right. That's cool. It's very dangerous for what was basically a very ridiculous of wonder weapon to people before they realized the true power capability of the other staves, mainly the ice staff.
Yep. I mean, it's quite. I mean, what you were saying there about the stars is like, I quite like the whole concept of like not having to do the same thing for fire to get the fire pieces. I think it differs it, and like in a good way, so to say. Maybe not for speedrunning, sure, but for a casual game, like you're not just riding the tank to jump off of places, or you're not just going into the robot, so you're not just digging piles. You're doing 3 separate things to grab 3 separate pieces. So that's kind of that's just my take on it though.
Yeah.
We lost Easton. Is he here? I think he's DC'd.
And
Oh.
my computer crashed.
Oh, there we go.
Damn.
Yeah, my computer crashed. I don't know why it does this to me. Okay, what did it cut me out at again?
Okay, so you were just describing, like, you were just talking about the staffs.
Say that again?
You were just talking about the staffs.
Yeah, like just the staffs having like this creative way of basically finding and collecting all these parts. Just in order to get the upgraded versions. Hold on, I'm putting in some earbuds so it could.
Son of Zombies podcast without technical difficulties, folks.
No.
You love to see it.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, my earbuds are not working, so I'm gonna have to rely on my phone until I can boot my computer back up. So yeah, just collecting parts, that sort of deal. Then you go just to build the actual wonder weapon, having a little quest to upgrade them. For DE, you had the actual starting bow, Wrath of the Ancients, and then you go through these little quest lines just to get the actual like different elemental variants. And then you have like Ancient Evil. We talked about the whole dormant hand problem earlier.
Yeah.
But the fact that after you found said dormant hands, all you had to do was stand in a circle for about a minute just to get the base version. And then you had the quest around the map. Like it was basically in that sort of regard, like I said with the Lex quote. Origins cultivated it, DE perfected it, Ancient Evil simplified it. That sort of regard.
I really like that. I think that's a very, very good way to look at the like the evolution of having 4 different elemental wonder weapons, so to say.
Yeah.
I'd say Origins invented it, DE made it easier, and then Ancient Evil oversimplified it. That's what I would say.
In that regard, yes, I do agree. In that, like, looking at it in that sense, but like going off of like Lex's quote that I said, like his part was just this was from the whole like zombie map ranking based off the data.
The data.
But yeah, going off of that, like he only said that about like those 2 maps, and then he later brought up the fact that like whenever he came to his round 100 Ancient Evil stuff, like he talked about how it basically was oversimplified. Like it was simplified down.
Yeah. Which honestly, if I'm being truly honest here, I had no idea that there was a 3rd upgrade for the
hands
for the hands, like where you can actually pack a punch them. I had no idea that existed.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous. It kind of feels like a step backward in my opinion for the whole process that it went just to get the simple upgraded version with like the right trigger ability, in my opinion, because it's like it's basically you turn the shrines into soul boxes, and then but after the whole soul box part, I think this is where it actually becomes fun, because you then have to go and actually redo those challenges again.
Yeah.
But instead of having unlimited ammo for like learning the gauntlets, you're going with whatever loadout you have. You're locked out from your elixirs, and you just have to survive. You have to do that for all 4 challenges in order to be able to pack a punch all 4 gauntlets.
Yeah.
The only preface that there is to that is that, like, for the sake of doing like the Easter egg for Ancient Evil, like if you're doing it 1 to 3 players, the only hand you don't have to worry about actually doing the upgrade for is Gaia. The only problem with this is that you have to upgrade every single gauntlet, every single dormant hand, and to like the redeemed form in order to even do this exalted form. And also, you are basically having to start the Easter egg as it is because you have to get the Eternal Flame, which is by earning a total of, if I remember correctly, is like 9. Depending on how many players, it's 9 tribute points per player, and depending on the type of reward you redeem, gives you a certain amount of points.
I only know for solo, I think is you have to get 1 epic and then 1 legendary.
Epic. It's 1 epic, 1 legendary, because an epic reward is 6 tribute points. A legendary is 4. Rare is 1 point, and common is half a point. That's the same scaling for points throughout all of them, and it's 9 points per player in the match in order to it's 9 points on solo, and it increases by 9 for how many players you have in the match to get the Eternal Flame.
Okay.
So it's not entirely that bad just doing challenges, but it's like people actually focusing on doing the challenges just to get the flame in the first place, because that's literally the proper first step of the egg.
It's the flame.
Hold on, I'm gonna quickly. I've got my computer booted back up. Let me try to rejoin it on.
I suppose you could count it as the flame and the gauntlets at the same time, because obviously you need the gauntlets anyway, and you need the flame to then start the next step. So I'd argue that it could be either or.
Yeah, hold on, give me 1 quick second. I'm gonna quickly join back in the call on my computer.
Okay, no problem, dude.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Now we got the better audio quality. But yeah,
what you were saying about Ancient Evil there, it actually leads quite nicely into the next topic here, which is and Kyle, I want to hear I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this, right? But Kyle especially, because I know we've actually talked about this quite a bit, just me and you, and it's talking about how Easter eggs should differ between solo and co-op. And so for that, Kyle, I'm gonna start with you because I want to hear your thoughts on it. How should they differ?
So okay, so I think for solo, I think the best way to put it simple is how Call of the Dead did it, where
I was just thinking of Call of the Dead myself.
right. So solo, it cuts down what I would say, I guess, is the nitpicky steps that you would normally do in any other Black Ops, game like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The radios, the vodka, the horns.
Right. Exactly.
The dials.
Right. That way, in solo, it's very simple. I mean, anybody can do it. But when you go to co-op, you've got all the steps. Instead of where Blood, solo, you're basically having to play it as if you're in co-op, but it's just you. So
Morse
I would
code.
like to see, do it don't make it too, I don't know if it's easy is the right word, but just, make it manageable solo. Don't make it so convoluted. I think it just gets lost in trying to be long and we want you to really, really work for it, which I don't know. Find a balance is all I'm saying for solo.
I mean, the whole thing about Easter eggs being long, I haven't really got that much of an issue with. I just think that maybe it should be long for co-op, and then maybe half of that for solo. So to say, okay, let's take actually, I'll tell you what, let's take Blood of the Dead for instance. Okay, right, so all 3 of you, I want to know how could Blood of the Dead's Easter egg differ between solo and co-op? What would you change to make it more solo friendly when you're actually doing a solo game?
I was just thinking about this. How I would do it is specifically with the Morse code. You just remove the inputting of putting in Morse code, and then for solo, all you have to do is just take a zombie up in the infirmary, kill it, and then blast it with the shield. And then you just do the rest of that. What that step is. The one about where you have to suck the soul out of a ghost,
Mhm.
and from when you kill it in the original spawn for mob, you don't need to do the whole blasting in, sucking the soul out of it, and then all you would have to do is just like keep an eye on where it is. But like it's already on that stage where like the arms are up, it has a spoon, like it's like you can easily kill with the trap, right? So
Yeah.
you just have to keep an eye on where it is. So you just go back to where the new industries. You just wait for it and then activate the trap when it gets there. That's what I would change about that those 2 steps.
I like that. I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's good. Easton, what about you?
I would think, like, here's one thing I honestly feel like would be something like add a means of zombie management, so you're not having to worry about accidentally killing a zombie while you're doing these steps. Because, like, for the sake of like the whole like the whole like starting in the library, making your way down to new industries like that. The fact that you have to shield blast before you can do the whole soul sucking of the key, it's like you could accidentally kill your last zombie. So it's like you're stuck in the middle of the round, the new round, trying to do this challenge.
Exactly. That's another
just-
point.
I feel like removing some extreme complexity to steps, it also just a means of being able to like say, like imagine this as a funny mechanic. Like imagine if there was a way how you could trap a zombie in a prison cell for the round, just as like a holding place. So it's like, oh, I know where this zombie is. I can keep him there so I can focus on doing other steps. So I can focus on doing steps as the Easter egg. Think of it as like a situation with like how you could have like Arthur hold on to a zombie.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about Arthur.
Orange, that's
Yeah.
about where the pincer plant.
Yeah, the pincer
Yep.
plant. Like having
Yeah.
some means of being able to have a zombie on hold so you're not having to keep your eyes on it the whole time.
That's what I was thinking of too.
And also just reducing complexity. And I think if it's like the step is basically built for co-op, either find a way to simplify it down for a solo player to be able to do it, or just have an immediate bypass for solo. Like you mentioned with Call of the Dead, Kyle. They had immediate bypasses to those steps to where all you really had to do for the egg was you had to, of course, find the fuse, blow out those generators. All you had to do was set the ship for the sake of the whole like Morse code dial shit, and then the submarine would already shine a light in, and then you were good from there.
Yeah, I like making sense of solo between co-op.
I think one thing that would help a lot with co-op and solo Easter eggs is having a zombie counter.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's actually, yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
And what they were saying, what you guys were saying about like holding a zombie in a cell for bloods.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that would be a fun little way of like having like a holding zombie mechanic.
Just think
'Cause,
of
like,
how simple it'd be. Like it'd be a simple little thing, but yet it would benefit the solo player for
Yeah.
the long run.
Yep.
Just like Arthur holding the zombie, the pincher plant in Zetsubo holding the zombie. Am I
Like,
right
basically-
in saying that those are the only 2 maps that do that?
those are the only 2 maps that I'm aware of that actually have a means of that, and I believe they are actually the only ones. And like because of that,
Mhm.
like I can't remember the pincer plant. It resets the bleed out counter, right? Or does it have its own set bleed out counter?
I think I want to say it has its own. The last time
Yeah, I
played
kind of
it,
want to
but-
say the same thing. I think it has its own, but then again,
Yeah.
I could be
I
wrong.
can't remember.
That's
that,
just
'cause I haven't
my
played
guess.
Zetsubo in ages.
That's just my guess on it.
Yeah.
Well, I would have thought
But
that
like
it would.
I know that with like Arthur, it basically completely blocks out a bleed out counter until you actually melee him, and then he just drops the zombie and stomps its head in.
Yeah.
But like maybe have something along those lines, because Black Ops 4's bleed out timer, I mean, it's 10 minutes, yes, but like for how complex these steps are and how much you're having to double check, like Jack, the whole ordeal that we went through with the frickin' Simon Says and all of that.
Didn't the bleed out time get updated to 15 minutes?
No, I didn't. It went from 5 to 10.
It's 10 minutes, I believe,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, it went from 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
But like
And
that's just
like
that's
across
another
the
thing as
whole
well.
board, non-damaged, which is dumb.
Right, that's another thing as well. Okay, bleed out timers. Right, have a bleed out timer for co-op. Don't have a bleed out timer for solo.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
something little
Exactly.
little things
Also-
like that.
Also, one thing I can remember is like, say, looking back at like, say, Black Ops 2 for Origins, trying to do that egg solo. There were some things that, like, there was some things updated between Black Ops 2's version and Black Ops 3's that actually helped like improve that the problems that were found within trying to do the Easter egg. Like, for example, having a lot more leadway on the frickin' throwing of the G strike onto the crater for the to
Yeah.
unleash the panzers.
Yeah.
There was also shortcuts found for the ice staff and the wind staff.
I love the shortcut for the ice staff. Just saying.
I agree with the same for the wind though. You don't need to go through all the way to the church, then the fucking mud track.
I still need to look
Yeah,
at how
like,
to do that properly.
Having those little like shortcuts is great. And
Yeah.
also
Too
like
bad.
Black Ops 2, like the fact that you had to worry about keeping like making sure that the zombie isn't in the freaking robot foot stomping path when you were trying to go into it was ridiculous, because back in Black Ops 2, people probably don't remember, hopefully you do, the fact that if a zombie is stomped on by a robot in Black Ops 2,
They die.
they die. They
Yep.
don't respawn.
Mhm.
But in Black Ops 3, they do respawn, which, thank the Lord, that's the case.
Yeah. That was always an issue back in BO2, trying to do the second step is just putting the staffs inside the wall
Oh,
the
yeah.
robots. If you didn't know the fire staff shortcut.
Oh yeah, the Black Ops 2's fire staff shortcut is the greatest thing. Period. I missed that
Yeah.
shortcut in BO3, but at the same time, it's like you don't truly get to experience the struggle that there was for the egg.
Right.
That ice stuff
think just-
shortcut it saves so much time, because then you can literally hit every single tombstone with the staff and the gun from the mound. You don't ever have to leave the excavation site at all to get that second part of the upgrade for the ice stuff, and it's so good.
And like the fact that you can preemptively also do like all the dials for the lightning staff is great as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like it's. I suppose another. I'm just trying to think of like other, like really convoluted Easter eggs that are just that you could like easily
Let's
show a difference between solo and co-op if there was one.
Also, okay, I thought of
I
something
think
else.
Shadows of Evil.
Oh my god. Yeah, like Shadows of
The
Evil though,
flag step.
you could like the flag step, yes, it can be
Oh.
difficult, but it
Mm.
still is possible solo, at least. The only thing I feel like is kind of a hindrance, and I feel like this is the case for both Shadows and Moon, is the fact is like you could do basically all but the last couple of steps of the egg solo. I want a means of being able to actually complete the entire egg solo.
Well, it's been
Yeah.
tested
fixed
that
that with Moon.
you can complete the last part 2-player.
Yep.
Wait, sorry, last part of Shadows.
For the last
Yeah.
part. Yeah, but
Like shocking the 3 electrical boxes and then the 3 keepers.
but it's like it's also dependent on if the gateworm actually spawns after you trap the Shadow Man in the summoning key.
But also, it doesn't help as well that that whole step doesn't spawn in unless you have 4 people.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that,
Right.
that's like that.
But
I don't
eventually-
like that.
blocking
Eventually
steps out
someone
because you don't have the max number of players in a game is a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
here's one thing also I kind of thought about in this regard. Like I understand why Shangri-La kind of did it the way they did, but like the fact that the Easter egg is locked behind having 4 players, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like you can easily make Shangri-La solo just by simply changing the
Changing the buttons to be like you have to press them all within a quick succession in order to go into the
yeah, just
Yeah.
doing
Eclipse,
that.
yeah.
mode.
That'd be better.
I think that would have been something nice for the sake of at least BO3. Like one thing I know for a fact is that on Black Ops 1, because of course we've been slowly getting like actual mods and custom maps for Black Ops 1. I know there's a mod out there that actually lets you bypass a lot of those like hindrances of the egg, of the Shangri-La egg on solo. Like for example, like it allows you to be able to press all the buttons alone. When it comes to the step where you have to shrink down that stone with the JGB, the game automatically gives you the JGB for that step instead of making you rely on the RNG, which I feel like that part is kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that.
I
Like,
think
that's-
you can.
that's
I
a
think
mod
it's
at least.
fine.
Also,
I
one thing
think
I'd
it's
say is
fine
that
just going for it.
like that's another thing I kind of thought about that we haven't really touched on, like reliance on wonder weapons for Easter egg steps. Because like all the way up until Black Ops 4, I'm gonna mainly focus on Black Ops 4 being where they kind of fixed this issue. You had to rely on either a long convoluted quest or RNG in order to get these wonder weapons that you needed for the steps. Yeah, Black Ops 4, every single map has a means of getting the wonder weapon for free. Every single one. Well, to an extent free, because like with 9, you still had to poison the box and spin it to get the Death of Orion. For the sake of Voyage, you had to, if you killed the Stoker with just a normal weapon, he drops his key, you go and fill the chest. Yes, it's a semi-convoluted quest. Like, I will agree, there are some quest lines related to getting the free weapons that are kind of ridiculous. Dead of the Night, I feel like, did it best, personally, because all you had to do for Dead of the Night was look around for symbols on the map and put them into a safe that's in the library, and then you got the free Alistair's Folly.
You can also
Yeah.
just brute force it as well.
Well, I mean, one thing that's also very helpful that I know for a fact, as far as you can go for brute forcing is that you could already spin the dials one position, because whatever the starting position of those dials are, that is not what the combination can be. It never is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it saves you a couple of spins, basically. Saves you a couple of interactions per dial. Let's see. Blood of the Dead, you had the free Blundergat stuff. Of course, that was originally a Mob of the Dead thing, but was modified because of how they made the map a lot more open.
Yep.
In some regards.
Just changing location, like
Yeah,
just
changing
changing some of the skull locations.
Like, for example, like that one skull location that was on the corner of Alcatraz is now on top of a box behind the Pack-a-Punch location up on the roof. You still have the one that's in the toilet, thank God, because that one was just funny to have there. The one
It's
that was
actually
on
not in the toilet. It's actually
Yeah.
not in the toilet.
is it like where that actual skull is on the table now?
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
That's all.
I'd have to double check, but you get what I mean about that at least. They moved. I'm trying to remember which one they moved.
The only one they moved was
The one that
they were
Dawson was on the
originally
lamp.
the
There was
one
one on
the
the
one above
lamp, they
ducks
moved
at
it
the
to-
lamp.
Oh yeah, the one on
was
the
then
left was
moved to
moved
Spawn.
to outside of Spawn for Blood, and then they kept the one on the light post. They kept the one on the light post outside the warden's office. Probably shifted it a little bit because you did have the extension out to the warden's house.
Yeah.
Like you just had, let's see, classified. You had Project Scatty. If people were not aware of how to go about that, it's basically you had to either like find a key, activate the DEFCON switches in a particular order to get into the panic room. You had to throw a grenade through a window down in the labs, like into a teleporter that spawned a picture, like all these, and have a pack-a-punched explosive weapon to shoot, like the photos of the presidents up on the top floor, like near the elevator. All of them showing pictures of different maps, and then like you go down to the war room to where there's like the little like dial, and then there's the picture of the map. You put in the code based off that map. After you do all 4 of those, you have to go to Groom Lake for Pack-a-Punch, and then you just had to do the 3 full rounds in order to lift up to get rid of the debris on that left side, which is the first initial one, which of course gives you a max ammo, and in some cases, I don't know why it doesn't work all the time like this, a bonfire sale. And then there's a case that has a free Winter's Howl. I'm trying to remember I think Ancient Evil doesn't really have a means of technically the whole way how the quest works for those. Technically, it's a free wonder weapon.
Well, yeah, because technically you don't have to pay to get any of the gauntlets. You just have to do the
Yeah.
quests.
The only thing you're having to pay for is doors to open up
Yeah,
the map, which you're going to
basically.
open up the map eventually anyways. You're not having to spin the box.
Alpha Omega, you don't need to get a Mark II from the box.
Oh, we lost Spike. Oh, there's Spike. again.
In order to
Yeah,
upgrade
there was the
it.
free Pack-a-Punched Mark II from doing the clock step.
Yep.
for like just turning on all the traps in the map. You also had like it technically wasn't a means of like paying to get these, like the whole like quest to get the ray gun Mark II V, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, it's basically
The only
like,
time you
you're
had to
talking
pay
about
was to
getting the
pack a bunch
frames. Getting the frames.
Actually, now I think about it, you did have to pay in regard to get, because you had to have one of the alternate ammo types in order to even initiate the first step of every single one of those. And I think even throughout the whole quest per one.
Yep.
Let's see, Togged or Toten.
Tog's a big one because
Yeah, you had a means
also-
of getting a free Thunder Gun, Tundra Gun, and Wonderwall.
and Wonderwall. I think that's great. I think
I think the Wonderwolf one is, I think out of all three of those, the Wonderwolf is my favorite of them because it actually adds more to the story of the map, of like the Siberian facility. Because you find that key in an icicle, kind of bringing us back to that vodka step from the Call of the Dead egg. That key, you had to melt it down in a pot that you used to make soup in for one of the totem challenges. And then you bring it up to the safe over in the prisoner holding, wasn't it? Or specimen holding, whatever the heck it was called.
Yeah, specimen holding, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it was the Vril device, the golden rod. It was the soul box. Filled it up, picked it up, bring it back to the top of the lighthouse, put it on the dumbwaiter. Freaking Pablo brings it up, and then he gives you a key that opens one of the chests that's right there, up there with him. And then boom, you got the free Wonderwolf for the map. The Tundra Gun was literally just you're running a course of throwing snowballs at targets.
Yep.
And then the Thunder Gun, you had to complete every challenge totem. There was a way to get every single wonder weapon for free, and to some extent.
Which I think is...
Which I loved that Treyarch decided to add a means of like easy gain of a wonder weapon. Because like you can still get some of them from like the mystery box. Like for example, Alistair's Folly on Dead of the Night, you can still get it from the box. Death of Orion's on 9, like basically the whole quest was basically a means of getting it guaranteed from the box. Voyage, it was just a way to bypass having to spin the box for the Kraken. Classified, you still had it in the box, but this was a way to get it. You had the Blundergat in the box for blood. Basically, every single map had a means of getting their wonder. Every map that had the wonder weapon in the box had a means of like getting it without having to spin the box. And also, I kind of thought of something that was kind of funny in regards to like wonder weapons. Like, this is just a little meme. I'm pretty sure that we all understand at this point. The true wonder weapon of Black Ops 4 is the Hellion Salvo.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man, that thing's overpowered. But it's so good.
I made it to round 139 on TOG using that freaking Windows strat, using only the Hellion and the Tundra Gun.
Mhm.
That Windows strat
Yeah.
is just
That Windows strat is
ridiculous, man.
which
Holy
I think
shit.
is something that can be brought up. Which, honestly, yeah, but like, actually, kind of goes into the next topic now.
Yeah, it does. But also, I actually just noticed this, right? So the next two topics, and then what we were just discussing here, right? How it blends in. We could actually cover all three of these in one conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so
Nice.
the first one was talking about like what we class as overpowered, which the Targ window strat is by far what you can class as overpowered, right?
Yeah.
And like, but also I want to revert to Lex's Alpha Omega run when he did round 100. He was literally just sitting on the edge of the yellow house balcony, and he's
Yellow
just
house
like, right,
backyard.
he's got his ballistic knife, he's got his electric cherry in the modifier, he's waiting for them,
Got
they're
that
coming,
Imperial
they're
Razor
coming,
as well.
and he's
he
just,
just
literally-
shoots the ground and
he's just
starts
doing this.
stabbing the zombies as they start climbing up because they only climb up that one spot for some reason. Like, why?
and he's like, oh no, I'm getting crowded, shoots the ballistic
And-
knife,
And
burst comes
here's
round,
something
here we
else
go
that
again, boys.
Here's something else I'd like to really point out. He was using an unupgraded ballistic knife for this strategy.
And he was basically saying throughout that entire game, the Juggernog was not that overpowered. And I agree. Juggernog was
Exactly.
not that Juggernog was not as overpowered as Dying Wish. It wasn't as overpowered as the Winter's Whale modifier, as
It
Victoria's
wasn't as
Tortoise.
overpowered as freaking electric burst modifier. Just the whole modifier system is what's making these perks in this game overpowered to an extent.
Like, and people sit there and say, yeah, Juggernaut was overpowered. No, like these strats that these people are doing to get to these round 100s,
For
it's
BO4 at least.
like that's basically what you could cover as overpowered. It's nuts, and particularly that tar. Oh my, like that. I
It's
think
just knowing how you can abuse the perks to your advantage.
also I'm officially gonna call that target tone strat with the window broken.
I agree.
They
100%.
they come from one window. What's that about?
Just one window, as long as you stay in that one room, that one tiny room.
So when you're running around the map, they spawn in front of you all the time. They spawn behind you all the time to try and sandwich you. You are standing there looking at one window. They don't come from the left. Sorry, that's right. They don't come from the right.
Yep.
They don't come from the left. They come straight ahead of you, and you're just literally
The only
there.
time that they come
you
from
come
left and
just
right,
like
though,
that.
I will point that out, is dogs. Dogs are the only exception, but dogs are a joke anyways in this game.
Yep, dogs are a joke. And so literally, you're just looking at the one window with your gun. You're just like, bah! it's so broken,
It's
dude.
ridiculous.
Especially with the salvo. Fucking hell. Talk about broken guns and overpowered guns. The salvo is the number
brought
one
back
on the list,
PhD.
dude. The salvo, I'd say, right? Hear me out here, right? I'd say the helium salvo, in terms of overpowered weapons, is up there with the Apothecon Servant and the Thundergun.
I can agree with you, but there's also something else that we need to take into account for the sake of Black Ops 4 and how they changed up. In one of the many ways they changed up the whole system. Black Ops 4, zombies' health caps out at round 35, period. The only thing that makes high rounds difficult is that by round 60, I believe is what it is. Like somewhere around 50 or 60, somewhere between that range, the zombies start running faster than you can run.
Yep.
It's 60 to 70.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
60
by
to 70.
70,
I can't remember what
by 70
this was
plus-
something that Lex said in his Ancient Evil video. Funny how it's Lex bringing up all this shit.
And then by, I'm pretty sure, like, gone 70, every single fucking zombie is a super
Or
sprinter.
super sprinters. Just
Like, and I know this for a fact because this happened on my round 101 run on 9 when I'm training in the arena. They are just faster than you, dude. You cannot stop to take a breath.
like it's either like it's on the scale of either like I would say it's on the scale of either freaking like Verruct or Transit outside the bus sprinters.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Definitely.
And like the running animation as well at those high rounds is so funny.
They're basically just falling on the floor at that point.
They're
They're so hunchback.
literally that's what it is. They're just like crouched to the ground. Like it's as if they're in the freaking Thriller music video. That whole like little step of like them hands on the knees, just stepping 1 foot at a time, like widespread. It's just that they're doing that the whole time. There are custom apps that have that sprinting animation back in World at War.
Oh my god, it's nuts, dude.
It's ridiculous.
But then it also then comes into the fact that shit, like I'm talking about crutch perks. Like you were saying, the modifier is what makes these perks overpowered. Pretty much.
Yet there are some perks that I feel like don't really benefit from their modifier.
No, like I'd say Death Perception is one of them.
Death Perception, I kind of say is like it's kind of good for the sake of like some maps that are like, say you have like ridiculous number of zombies.
Yep.
On like ridiculous number of like special zombies, like say I can see Death Perception being useful on like 9, or like say Blood of the Dead for the sake of just mainly the egg, just for that final boss fight, which is, I mean, even then, now I think about yeah, Death Perception's modifier. Like I'm trying to find reasons to actually give it some good benefits, like pointing that out, because like all the modifier is a buff to heavy zombies damage, like that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy zombie mini bosses, that stuff. It's just like, no, it's not good. It's a joke.
Crutch perks are like, and it's asked I asked the question of this topic, like, you know, should crutch perks be a thing in COD 2020? To be truthful, I think I
There
seriously
always will
think
be.
like
I feel
yeah
like
they
that's the
will
case.
be, but I don't want them to be. I think crutch perks are a thing that, you know, I need perks that can help me, such as speed cola, such as double tap, not perks that are gonna ensure I survive for the longest time, like Winter's Wail, like Widow's
Dying
Wine,
Wish.
like Dying Wish.
PhD Slider with the frickin' Hellion Salvo.
Your dog's going off.
Yeah,
Damn.
Someone's pissed.
She always sees people outside and is like, she'll go crazy, so we might have to deal with that for a
He's
little
like,
bit.
people. Okay, before we get into topic time real quick, I just want to shout out Polgia. Thank you very much for the $3, my dude. I really do appreciate that, man. And your support means the absolute world to me. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, so yeah, topic time, guys. So Spike, you got the topics for today?
Yep.
Topic time.
Let's go.
Pete asks, what features do you wish they would bring back from older zombie games to the next?
Simplified pack punching.
Yeah.
Because I don't like having to spend 15k just to get my weapon to its maximum damage. I mean, that's how they implemented double
Yeah.
tap for Black Ops 4, but it's just, that's too much money. They
Yep.
realized that
Yeah.
people hated it so much, and the fact that it took them to Togger Toten to fix this with the golden pack-a-punch.
But not only that as well, like, I gotta comment on, expand on that, right? They made it so you spend that much money to get Pack-a-Punch, and yet they nerfed how many points you actually got.
Just the point system in
How
general
the
as well, yeah.
Mhm.
Flying F of Jim is that fair? Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
Like, the fact that the max amount of points you can get per zombie is 150 points is ridiculous. Minimum is 90 no matter what, unless you're looking at dogs, which is 40 on the ether maps. Why are that? You know what? That's something that I want to bring up. Y'all have noticed that, right? Killing a dog, you see a plus 40, a plus 50, and a minus 50.
It's one thing I've never understood. I've tried looking
Mm-hmm.
into it, and yet I can never understand why you get minus points. Actually, chat, guys in chat, if you know, please explain. But yeah, I've always wanted to know why you get minus points from killing dogs. The only time you don't get minus points, right, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, the only time you don't get minus points is if you are using the Blood of the Dead shield to kill them. You just
Wow.
get the 60. That's it. That's as far as I know.
That makes sense.
It's ridiculous, just in
Yeah,
general,
that
I
makes
feel like.
no sense. Yeah.
Just the point system in general is just like, Treyarch, why?
But yeah, no, in terms of mechanics coming back, I think I would like to see point sharing expanded on. I think similar to how World War II did it. I think that would really
Yes.
benefit, especially with like Easter eggs and speedruns and
Oh
everything.
my god.
So I think point sharing for sure. I've always been a fan of being able to carry 5 perks off the bat, just like IW did.
Mhm.
I think.
Oh yeah,
that-
the five perk method that was friggin' Infinite Warfare that actually did it first, right?
Correct. That you were just able to carry 5 perks off the bat. Actually, no. No, I don't think it
was.
No, I don't think it was.
I think.
Exo.
Wait,
Exos
no,
did.
Exos. No,
Exos.
Exos actually let you buy every perk.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
perk.
Buy it. Yep, everyone. That was nice. Very nice.
Freaking
I
zombies.
forgot that Exos
Professional,
let you
boys.
buy every perk, but then again, I forgot about Exos. We always forget about Exos. Exos was fun though.
I
Freaking
do
Raven
like-
Software did a great job.
So Exos was the first one to did it. Treyarch never did it, and then
No.
Closest we
Infinite
ever
Warfare.
got with Treyarch was unquenchable.
I just think 5 perks, 5 perks off the bat would benefit players, and they wouldn't have to worry so much about trying to get more perks in a way.
Mhm.
And so I think those
Yeah.
be the two main things for me. I think point sharing and also being able to carry 5 perks off of the bat. That'd be my two.
Or just being able to, just in general, being able to carry more than 4 perks right off the bat. Because, like, one thing to keep in mind is, like, with every single Treyarch installment, what are the 4 perks that people always tend to buy?
Juggernaut, Speed Killer, Double Tap, Quick Revive.
Yes, the original 4 perks. They're always the ones that people buy. If you have that 5th slot, like, this was kind of the case for, like, I'm gonna be real, like, with Infinite Warfare Zombies, I was the guy who always bought the original 4, and also, basically, I would buy Up and Adams, Tough Enough, freaking, what are they? Bang Bangs. What was the one called again?
Quickies.
Quickies. And then I also bought Racing Stripes. Which, now I think about it, like, literally just basically Quick Revive, Juggernaut, Speed Cola, Double Tap, and Stamina Up. I feel like if we were given 5 perks and we had the original perk system,
Yep.
noting that as well, those would be the 5 perks that people would always buy, in my personal opinion. Or possibly instead of Stamina Up, Widow's Wine, for the sake of, like, Black Ops 3.
Do you know what map this? I know a lot of people don't buy this perk anyway, right? But it still frustrates me to this day, the fact that you have 5 perks on Mob of the Dead. You can only buy 4, and there is 0 way that you can get that last perk.
But also, let's keep in mind what that last perk, like, what were the perk machines again? Like,
Dude, Deadshot is actually good.
Okay, but for Black Ops 2, for the time, people never thought about how good Deadshot was. Because we had, what, Jug, Double Tap, Speed Cola, Deadshot, and Cherry, yeah. Nobody would buy Deadshot because Cherry was such a necessity in Mob of the Dead. Because of how tight quarters it was.
But just think of, like, you know, it's that one perk that I know people who actually buy Deadshot and don't bother with Cherry. And
Nice.
I just think it would make sense.
Honestly, that's fair.
Like,
Because, like,
you have
Deadshot
you have 5 perks on the map, you can buy the 5 perks. Just do that.
Deadshot's a better perk. Period.
Like, and that's
I don't get why there's the stigma from zombies YouTubers or zombies content creators of Deadshot not being a good perk in those early games.
I find Deadshot to be at its peak, but in Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
Um,
And of course, like, they were forced to use it if they were popping a perk up.
yeah.
Yet they would still not think of it as a good perk.
But I mean that's what I would say. Spike and Kyle, what about you two?
Weapon kits.
Okay, well, like, create a class or just customizing weapons?
Just being able to customize your weapons.
Just having a little bit more variety, I feel like. Because, like, I can understand that. Because, like, say, Black Ops 4 really went out of the way of making sure every weapon had its own unique weapon kit.
Yeah.
Like, no weapon shared the same attachment set. And I can understand why, because, like, my weapon kit, for the sake of, like, World War II and Infinite Warfare, was basically almost the same across every single weapon. Extended mag, quick draw, a high caliber, an FMJ of some sort, and also having an optic. Because, you know, optics were considered part of the normal attachment set in those earlier games.
Probably camo charges as well. But like,
I can heavily agree with that. Heavily agree with that.
Would like simplify them so like you don't need to be like, oh, so like 2,000 headshots, 500 kills across the board for the other 5 challenges. No, I just wanted to be simply just 1,000 kills and you get a camo.
Like,
You get
Treyarch,
gold for that
why
gun.
the hell did I need to get 3,200 headshots for the S6? Why?
Yeah.
1,000 kills across the board for one gun, and boom, you get gold for that gun. You do it for all guns in the game, you get dark matter or whatever final
Like,
camo that they decide to do.
Yeah.
Like, the whole technical system, I feel like it was all right for guns that were simple. Like, if you're looking at, like, say, mainly the Bowie knife is the only offender of this, in my opinion. Everything else is fine. Well, actually, like I have to say, the way how they kind of differed it for like all the like sort of like older looking weapons, like say, for example, like the trebuchet, like looking at the trebuchet, the Zweihander, the Essex, the Welling, whatever other weapons there were that were like that, the M1927. Oh yeah, that's something I should have brought up earlier about a camo that I was not a fan of. Whenever you asked me about the dark matter earlier, because the fact that one of the camos for the M1927 is 500 fucking dog kills.
Okay, is it really?
It still angers me. It was the last camo I needed.
Hang on, Jap. I need to see this for myself.
Yet it's phrased as vermin kills.
There's another gun that has vermin kills, I'm pretty sure.
No, there isn't.
Is it
It's
just the
only
M1927?
M1927.
Yeah,
What does it come under
Because-
secondaries?
That's so
Dark
fucking
matter was
dumb.
implemented. Dark matter was implemented like early on in the game, to where it's like the only map the M1927 was on was Blood of the Dead.
Yeah.
It was only
they
an,
added
it was
it
an
to-
Ether exclusive
Yeah, then they added it to TOG.
and Alpha.
I wasn't sure about Alpha.
I can't.
Oh,
I can't find it
it's
on
on Alpha.
Zombicus.
It's like
I can't find it on Zombicus. What the hell is it?
the M1927.
Yeah, it's not on it.
It's an SMG.
Is
Yeah,
it-
some machine guns.
What? It's an
Yeah.
SMG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an SMG.
Because it's the Thompson.
Mhm.
Okay.
Also, one thing to note, there is a back arrow right next to the red banner for the weapon types. That way it's like you're not having to go like do the whole like back the page up and then have to click on camo tracker again.
We got back a bunch. 90 perks with perks. 500 vermin kills. Oh my! What?
Yes.
That's dumb. That's actually dumb.
And one thing to note is that the only kind of zombie type that is considered a vermin is the dogs.
Oh, kill me now.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't.
About the Novas.
That makes
Novas
that
are
makes
considered
sense.
enhanced.
That's so dumb.
That is very dumb. Yeah,
There are
that's
so
weird.
many enhanced types in the game.
Huh.
Anyways, Kyle, what would you say you would like to brought back from old zombie games?
Yeah, I mean, I would say everything y'all covered. I mean, like bring back the point system from BO3. I think 5 perks would definitely be needed, as like I always struggle for that, other perk. I always feel like I want that 5th perk. But I would say like what I wanted from BO3 going into BO4 and we got it was sharing
Oh.
guns out of the box. I thought that was great.
Okay, that was really cool. Yeah, there is something I'm seeing
I
here
really thought it was
from.
great.
There's something I'm seeing here from Polgia in the chat that I think is a couple of fair points. Like one is like, should they bring back the bank system from IW?
No.
Mm,
I feel
Yeah,
like
'cause
that. I feel like it's a no there because the way how the whole point dropping system worked in World War II
Yeah.
is better.
If they were to bring it back, I'd say there needs to be a cap. And
Yeah.
Right.
the cap needs to be a
Definitely.
number that's not ridiculously
the bank-
overpowered.
I'm think there was the one in IW, but also like mainly like BO2's bank system. I think is what they were meaning.
What was that cap? Was
Because
it
that was
250,000?
You can also glitch the fuck out of it so you can get like millions of points to fill up your
Yeah.
bank and then
Yeah.
Buried, am I right?
IW
Buried, am I right?
Yeah, in IW there was like the shopping free related card or some shit in the game. And if you just use that on the bank, leave the game, rejoin, and then you keep doing that over and over again.
I just think that, like, with the bank system, and there's one reason why I actually don't want it to come back, and it's for one particular, there's one particular map, which is why I don't want it to come back, and that's Buried. You can literally open everything, get Pack-a-Punch,
Mhm.
everything on round 1, and I just think that spoils the game. I want the thrill of building up the points, checking out all of the places, and just, taking my time with it, rather than going one spot, taking out, I don't know, 100,000 points, and then before I know it, I'm set up on round 1, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Flex was saying 50,000 was the max for IW. but it's only there for one game.
Yeah. All the money that
Yeah,
you
but
bank
you can
in the
still
one
glitch
game
the
is just,
fuck out of it. You can still glitch
Yeah.
the fuck out of it, though.
as long as somebody's still in that game, the money can still stay there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
I just simply don't want the bank back just because one buried was so fucking easy.
Mhm.
And as well as like you could just glitch the hell out of it and it just makes it so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just that's just it. Like buried. It was the only map I thought the bank did dirty.
Yeah.
Transit wasn't bad because it was such a length to get from place to place, and
I mean, it took you
Yeah.
forever to even get to the bank in the first place.
exactly, and Diarize, you didn't really need it anyway, only because it doesn't take you long to get anywhere around that map.
Yeah.
So buried was the only one I thought it did it dirty, but that's just my thought. Okay, Spike, what's the next topic?
Pete asks, do you think we get a remake of a map at launch of the next COD? Maybe ask the pre-order bonus.
I'd want a Transit remastered. I want a Transit remaster or remake, period.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to see what that map could have been like because we have such a great engine now.
Yep.
Honestly, the BO3 engine would have probably been better for a Transit remaster. Heck, there are custom maps that are attempted Transit remastered, but I feel like if Treyarch is to do it themselves, and Activision is not to limit them in any way on trying to build it, we can get the most amazing Transit that we could have ever gotten.
I just
Give me
think,
what Jimmy
right,
Z wanted.
Here we go. Right. Now here's the thing. So to answer Pete's question, I don't think we're gonna get any remasters or remakes as a pre-order bonus. And you guys are saying Transit. I 100% want a Transit remake. That's without question. But
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the map is too big for it to be a pre-order bonus. Pre-order bonuses have always been the small maps, like the Giant or Classified. They've always been the small maps.
Yeah.
A map like
Fair.
Transit makes sense for it to be released as its own DLC.
But then we go back to the whole controversy of people being like, oh, why are we getting remakes for DLC? Why did I already pay this before for another game and buying it again for this game?
Because the map's being made better, for one.
Sorry.
Yeah, just people are fucking so nitpicky.
Sorry guys, a moth was just attacking
Yep.
me.
It's because of how nitpicky
Oh.
this community is that everything is kind of is just going to shit, period.
Oh,
Yeah. But that's the only thing I would say about in terms of remasters or remakes. We need to step away from the remasters and remakes, and we need a fresh
Original content.
everything. And so that's what I would say about that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a fair point. Like Wars was saying in chat about, but like, you know, the whole rumor of bus route B, like they could add a new bus route and take us to all these different places. It's kind of like, I'll tell you what, right? It's
Take us to a proper Broken Arrow facility.
kind of like what people expected Die Rise to be before it came out. They thought it was going to be similar to Transit, where there was going to be all these different places. Like, so you had city, you had a railway station, all different ones like that. They could do
nuclear
something
power
like
plant.
that. Like, actually, I'm wondering if I could find that. Let me have a quick look.
I remember that one of the stops that was mentioned within it was like a Derice location, similar to how like there was Knocked in Transit.
What people thought Die Rise would be.
Like there was so much they had built up for the sake of Green Run in general that it kind of set the preface of what people were expecting the rest of Black Ops 2 to be like.
I'd really doubt
They tried too much.
They tried too
tried
much
too
right
many
out
things.
the gate, which then kind of put them at a major deficit down the line.
But Jason brought it back.
I really doubt I'm gonna be able to find it because like this was like shortly after Transit came out. I really doubt I'm gonna find it, but it was basically a Transit. It was similar to a Transit style where you had all these different ones, so they could go down that route, I'd say. Okay, is there any more, Spike?
There's one more.
Okay.
On the asks, do you think they should add game modes to zombies like bringing back grief?
I'm gonna say no, personally. I feel like it was too ambitious.
I say yeah, but don't make it like the focus point, because that's what the problem was with
Yeah.
Jimmy. Because he wanted too many things at launch.
I mean, yeah. Jimmy,
I'd say do it over time and over the DLC span.
Yeah.
but I mean, there was that
Gradually.
attempt as well with Turned, and we know how that happened.
But there's also someone made a mod of Turn for BO3 and it was actually really, really good. So if they really took the time, but also not make it the full focal point for a DLC, they could really do good.
Yeah, I can understand that, but we also got to take into account that there is like, how would Activision feel about this kind of thing? Because whether we like it or not, it's all down to Activision.
Yeah, they get the final say.
They get the final say. It's why we didn't get a campaign for Black Ops 4. It's why everything felt rushed for Zombies.
Yeah.
For the sake of Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 was all because Activision just was more focused on Blackout, I feel like. The main focus of BO4 was Blackout, period.
Well, they kind of had to, because that was kind of like the thing for Black Ops 4. They made Blackout 7 months before the beta came out for that, 9 months before the game came out. There was supposed to be a campaign, but as we all know, that Activision shut that down because it hardly worked for what they were trying to do. So they had to scramble to make Blackout, and they wanted to make sure that was good as possible.
I really feel like Treyarch definitely got the short end of the stick, period, with Black Ops 4. There could
It
have
also
been so
doesn't
much
help.
more.
It doesn't help that Activision was like, we gotta release the game a month early because we want to compete with Red Dead 2. There's
Yeah,
no
that's-
fucking reason for it, but
Yeah, 'cause
whatever. They thought it was
like-
good, but no.
the only, I can understand their concern, but they shouldn't have had that concern whenever, I'm pretty sure it was literally the year prior to, was it the year prior that Chronicles released?
It was during IW.
So
Yeah.
it was,
2017.
yeah, like just with how great the sales were for Chronicles. Why were they so worried?
I also don't know why they wanted to compete with Red Dead, because they're
Mhm.
Call of Duty. That's what they're fucking known for, right?
Yeah,
Why would you want to
Yeah.
compete with a Rockstar game that comes out every like
every
half a
few
decade?
years.
Really?
Yeah, like-
There's no way.
Like you're releasing games annually, Activision. What are you thinking?
Mhm.
Trying to
no
compete with a
point.
game that's been multiple years in the making.
You-
Whenever
There's,
you're
like,
forcing these
no
games to
point.
be made within the span of really a year and a half, if we're to be fair.
I'll tell you why. It's because Activision are money grabbers.
Absolutely.
That's why.
Activision's gonna be the reason why COD's gonna die. I still think that there's like wasted potential on these COD devs for them to actually make some really good games.
And I think it's because of that also that we're losing some very well known like members of those dev teams, because like we no longer have Jason. We've
Yeah.
had no Jimmy Z forever. Lee Ross went to work at Treyarch during during all this downtime, and he's already left Treyarch.
Yeah. Honestly,
Like those were basically like the senses of, I would say, false hope for the sake of zombies. I'm saying
Actually, Jimmy went to go work at Ubisoft for our Rainbow Six Siege to make a zombies season.
Oh yeah, I remember the zombies thing that they tried doing for Rainbow Six. It wasn't It was well received. I feel like, wasn't it?
It was really
also,
cool.
let's not forget
But
that
it just didn't seem like
Cameron
it really well
Dayton also
supported.
left Sledgehammer.
What, Jack?
Cameron Dayton also left Sledgehammer.
Yeah, you can't. So we have no familiar faces that are working on that
What
we
about
know
Craig?
that is the director.
The only one we know
What
is
about
Craig.
Craig is the lead writer. He can't take on that role. He can't take on that role.
Yeah,
He's a lead writer. He can't take on the role of being like the main zombie dude.
I reckon he can. I reckon he can't take the role of director, but he can take the role of public face.
Yep.
Yeah, he can take role of public face, but definitely not director, because he's been doing lead writing for Trigger forever.
Yeah.
Direct-
So much bread and
I
butter
think
on that.
director should be Mark Meistus.
Yeah, that's how I think it'll be most likely.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Hey, Jack.
Right. Okay. Yeah, Carl. Just see DM. Just quick. We'll quickly touch.
Okay.
We'll quickly touch up on it. Before we
Yeah,
end the show here. So yeah, this was like it was all about this old Johnny J controversy on Twitter. People that I've got this. I can't show this because, quite frankly, I don't want anyone just coming at me with bullshit. So I'm just gonna quickly touch up on it. But there was one comment. Because I looked through all of those replies and comments, and there was one that really got to me for some reason.
I'm not aware of what this whole controversy is.
So basically, Johnny J, this was actually said on the Zombroz. This was a clip from Zombroz, and Johnny J's basically said that he doesn't like the high round on Kino is someone using the fire trap strat and no Nova crawler strat in that room, and he was saying it something to do with like skill and all sorts like that. Actually, let me see if I can find
He
it.
was saying that there's no skill by simply just sitting in a certain spot where you can't be touched and damaged by the fire trap.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna read this. I'm gonna read this bunch here, right? So one of the guys responded to him and said, "You stand by the comment that one of the most skillful maps does not have an impressive world record. Admit the fact that you made an uneducated statement and move on. You don't play high rounds. You don't keep up with the strat or the community itself." And then John's responded saying, "That's not what I'm saying. The world record is impressive and very skillful. My point was that part of the strategy in which you stand in a glitch spot and the zombies can't touch you is easy. The escape is much harder, and I admit I should have been more clear." So, reading that,
He was taken far out of context.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think people are overreacting. Like,
people are
that's just
people are
simply-
100% overreacting.
Yeah, like this
because
is not that big of a deal.
but also the fact that I can see where John's coming from, in the sense that, like, if you are in a glitch, then like if anything, I've always said that if you glitch to get to high rounds, you should have that game excluded 100%.
Yeah.
However, getting to a high round on Kino does take skill. It does take skill. But if you are just gonna use a glitch to do it, then it shouldn't be counted for. But this is kind of where I have the problems, right? And I'm gonna read the whole thing before I get into it.
I wanna mention real fast
Go on.
that the simple explanation is if it's a glitch or not is by, are you able to do the same fire trap like method in Zombie Chronicles? I'm pretty sure you cannot, right? Because there's a way that the zombies can go around the trap and hit you. If you try to do it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously it's patched out. It is a glitch, but it's a very minor glitch. So it's hard to say.
But this is where this gets into it, right? So again, I'm not gonna say who because of privacy, but this guy's responded to that and said quite a lot. "You don't understand. The hold up you have to do in the fire trap room once the trap turns off is the hardest horde up of all high round strategies on BO1. It clearly shows you have never done the no Nova strategy on Kino round 140 plus. And the fact you have the Thunder Gun doesn't matter. Since the strategy is no Novas, you can't pack a punch, which means you only have 14 Thunder Gun shots that you have to last for 4 to 5 rounds before the dog rounds take into effect. You can't get a new Thunder Gun either when you run out of ammo in hour-long rounds. You called one of the hardest high round strategies on BO1 the easiest strategy. You, my friend, are ignorant and have no right giving your opinions on things you have no understanding or representing the high round community in any way. Not now, not ever.
Overreaction.
Like, I'm gonna stick up for Johnny on this part and say that this guy who responded to him is a dick.
Yeah, simply.
Johnny J,
Like-
like what this guy needs to understand is that Johnny J25 has never been a high rounds guy. He's never been a
Yeah.
high rounds guy, but
He's just
he's
giving
still
his point of view.
he's still one of the most public faces of the zombies community. Therefore, he gives an opinion, people listen to it.
Correct. And
That's-
it's like the thing is about like high round strategies. As long as like you can practice and perfect it, then it's easy because it's just muscle memory. So like for example, doing the rev high rounds, it's so easy just because all you have to do simply is just sit in the corner with a pumpkin servant.
Yep.
You just have zombies just die from the windows, pull out rags, and you slam on the 2 windows and spawn.
Yep.
That's it, pretty much. Honestly, it's so simple. But it can also take a while for you to practice and perfect it. So it's just at that point, it's muscle memory. There's the same thing for this Kino high round. You have the knowledge of what to do and where to run, and like to do in certain situations where something does not go that just doesn't plan out right. At that point, it's just simply muscle memory, and it's super easy.
But this is where I'm getting confused, right? So the first guy was talking about it being so Johnny J. So someone was saying about it being a glitch, right? Technically, it's not a glitch because they're doing a no Nova strat, which basically means they're not turning on the power.
Yeah.
And so I don't see how that's a glitch. That's
What the glitch is like there's a certain spot in the fire trap that you can stand at but not take any damage, and like there's fire all around you, so no matter where zombies come from, they'll die from it.
Okay.
That's like the very, very, very minor glitch of this strat.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
It's simply not intended.
But yeah, no, I completely agree with Carl that people were they are overreacting.
Yeah.
But now
I was
listen,
like, wow.
listen to this, right? Listen to this.
I think people are just craving for drama, and this is like their fucking fix.
Listen to this, right? So,
Yep,
again,
exactly.
so someone else, but also like I have to take into account that another guy. I'm not gonna say these names, chat, purely because of privacy and confidential. I'm not gonna read that stuff out.
Yeah.
But the guy, there was another guy, who was shitting on Johnny J for forgetting the guy's name, who got the world record. Like,
Dude, there's so many world records.
there's so many world records and there's so many
It's
players.
so easy to forget names. It's so
And also,
fucking
world
easy.
records are being broken all the time in some cases. So
Yeah,
it's like you don't know who
exactly.
exactly is currently holding the record.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Right.
why shit on him?
Just
for
another
that?
overreaction and trying to get their fix of
It's-
drama.
But
It's so
also,
nitpicky.
like, there's this, right? Listen to this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. This
Hmm.
other guy has said this. Stop exploiting the high round community for views and money, and actually use your platform and voice on YouTube to promote expert players that can actually make informative videos. Someone is one
Is
of
that
the
not
top
what he's
players.
doing?
How about you?
Yeah,
make
that's the
your
whole
con-
point of his channel, right? Like a lot of the videos he's been posting
Yeah.
is just going over these high rounds and actually talking about them to the best of his ability.
I
And
That's
I will
literally
emphasize
what he's
the
doing.
best of his ability, because like that earlier comment said, he's not very informed about what goes on the high round community. He's just doing the best he can to understand how it works and what's
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah, but also
People are just
like
literally trying to gain some level of attention. It's basically like the whole like streamer notice me sort of idea of like
Yeah.
if you can somehow gauge them to actually acknowledge you because you're trying to put them down, then you're just going to end up being quiet. Like why like you're going through so much to put down this person just for them to acknowledge you, it seems like, in this regard.
This whole situation is so fucking stupid.
But then,
Someone got fucking butthurt just because their fucking favorite strategy was called out for being a glitch. Or
that last message I
Still,
read,
it's
that last
fucking-
message I read was actually expanded on, right? He goes on to say, admit you are a fraud and are prostituting our community to save your dead channel during the content drought, or start making dual comms with someone and other real experts that can actually inform the viewer about these world records. We don't want tourists in our community. What the actual fuck? Okay, right. Make
This is so
make
gatekeeping.
The real question
informative.
is, are you even in that community in the first place if you're saying something like that? And also, yes, it's very much gatekeeping. Like everybody should feel welcome to these communities.
Making
That's part of the
informative
problem with the zombies
videos-
community.
Making informative
This community is
videos.
so fucking
right?
toxic.
I'm sorry, but making informative videos. Johnny J's most popular series on his channel is the zombie storyline Q&A.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to talk about informative? Try watching that.
Yeah, if you're calling him out for not being informative, are you even informed on the shit he even posts?
Clearly not.
Do you even know anything about his channel in the first place?
Obviously
Whenever
not.
you're doing all this,
Yeah, this is reminiscent of
become
Reed's
educated
little
before
debacle.
you start bashing.
Same thing happened to Reed. He had got an overreaction from someone, and it was just a bunch of BS drama.
Well, yeah, but the
Cover
difference
something
is
different, of
that
course,
that guy. Again, I'm not saying names, but people know that
Right.
guy's reputation.
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm gonna defend Reed. Right, Reed had every right to say what he said. Okay, because quite frankly,
yeah. He
Reed
did.
wants to move on from Ether. Don't come into his chat and then start
Exactly.
talking shit about him because he wants to forget about Ether. Honestly, don't
Yeah.
find someone else's chat to do that in, as far as I'm concerned.
Just
Like,
forget what you know, lads, already.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm bringing that up again, but we need to forget about it. It's over.
Yeah.
There's no going
Yeah.
back.
Ether's
Yeah.
over.
Either
Just
is
deal
over.
with
The
it.
And you
only
can
thing that
also
would-
You
The
can
only
also
thing
say
that's-
goodbye to chaos as well, because of all how butthurt the community was, or at least how the vocal majority or minority, whatever the hell, was about Chaos Story. We're no longer getting
Yeah.
that, so where the hell are we going from here?
Yeah. Spike, what was you gonna say?
Like, Ether's over. Like, the only thing else that we just need to worry about that's Ether related is ciphers that we haven't solved. That's literally it.
Mhm.
And maybe just like fun Easter eggs we still haven't solved yet. That is literally it. Ether is done. It is over. We're not getting it back.
Nope.
There's no other reason to still cover Ether when the storyline is over. The only thing to cover about Ether is new Easter eggs that are found, just little side things, and just ciphers that are being solved.
Like-
and even then, the ciphers is just gonna be information that we already know.
Because
Yeah.
it had to be it had to just be straight up said to us through other means, because people could not figure out the ciphers, because Trek is very much about keeping things complex and hidden, so that it's long enough to where they can actually reveal the way they want to properly reveal it within the story. Like, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
there was just now recently, that whole radio thing and that truck on the origin section of Revelations.
Yes, I saw that video.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that video from Dalek.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Dalek just posted the video, talking about what exactly it was, which it's radios that are on Togdur Toten, basically talking about coordinates for what was that Apothecon referred to as again? I can't remember already.
I can't
I don't
remember. The name.
remember.
I can't
Basically,
remember
the
name.
location of the Apothecon that the Apothecon blood came from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to all the people that said that BO4 was rushed and not planned, there you fucking go. You're wrong.
It could have been handled a lot better, yes, but
Everything
yes,
still
absolutely
was
could
a
have been
plan.
handled. Yes. Like, we know for a fact that Jason, he plans ahead. He planned ahead for BO3, and that's why if we if you don't know, there was a alpha build of BO3 that was shown on YouTube,
Yeah.
and we figured out that all the DLC maps up to Revelations was planned. It was all those maps were already done and in the alpha build of BO3.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Fucking data miners as well. Just
Data miners ruin everything.
they do.
They always do.
But when it comes to like alpha builds and early builds of games, that shit's interesting, and I think that should be like a piece of history that should be known to the public. So it's just so cool of what like little ideas that they had from earlier builds of a game that we may not have seen or expanded upon that we now see in the game.
Yeah.
It could have been Flex. Yeah, I think was it the Elder God?
The Elder God, yeah, it was.
Elder God.
It was the Elder God. Thank
Okay.
you, Flex.
Thanks, Flex. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up this episode of the ZombSquad podcast. I hope you did all enjoy. Once again, thank you to my co-hosts Kyle and Spike. It's always a pleasure, and thank you very much to Easton for coming on this week, dude. It was wonderful having you on.
Of course.
And
Glad to have been able to come on.
And we will see you guys next week at 6 p.m. British Standard Time, where we have a very, very new guest on. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, he's very new, but I'm excited to have him on for sure. And we're gonna talk about some really good stuff.